Hey guys, Mike here with Obedient Canine Academy. Here is Karma and her last day. Wait. Okay. Sure. Karma, come. What is a marker word and is it really useful? A marker word is basically the same thing as a clicker. We are just using our voice rather than having something extra in our hands. And what it does is it allows us to indicate to the dog that whatever behavior they're doing at the second they hear that word is why they're getting rewarded. This is very, very useful because it allows us to teach dogs who are nervous and dogs who are very energetic and want to go all the time. And just in general, it helps us with timing and making sure that the dog understands what it is we're actually rewarding. Because if we were not to use a marker word or a clicker and we were to wait for the dog to do the behavior that we want and then move our hand to give them the treat, we will never be getting the time correct. So it's very important that we use something to indicate to the dog the second that they do what we want. And that word for Karma is just yes. So for example, if you want her to go to place or teach her a different place, you would just lure her over with food or guide her over with your hand. The second a paw touches the object you want it to, yes. And then you would give her a piece of food. And you do that a few times until she gets more comfortable with it. And then you can just start having her do that. Karma, come. Good girl. Okay. During most of this video, you're going to see Karma just walking around doing what she wants for the most part. And I personally feel that's how dogs should be. They should be able to run around, do what they want to do without getting into trouble. What we do periodically is we do a little bit of structure and then some obedience stuff. The off-leash healing that you're about to see, what we're doing is I have her in the general position of heel. It's not in a perfect heel. When you see her inching up, like going past me a little bit too much, I'm just tapping the collar and either making a kissing noise, or I might say her name or re-say heel. Just something to kind of grab her attention and to bring her back into a more proper position. And how we started this was pretty much we just put her on a leash. We walked around, she came close to us and got in the general position of heel. We marked it by saying yes and then giving her a piece of food. And what that did was encourage her to stay in that position. So we did that a whole bunch of times, and then we started correcting her for going out of position. So the word that we use for stay is wait. And what you see me doing here is I told her to sit. I walked away, and she does get up and move. So what I do is from the second she gets up, I push and hold the button. When she gets back into position, like heel position, then I release it. When she's walking with me, I put her into a sit and I walk away again. And I did also tell her no. Second she got up, I pushed the button, said no, and then walked her back. It's very important that you put her back in as close to the same spot as possible that she got up from, because you don't want her thinking that it's okay for her to hop up and then you're just going to put her into a different spot. You want her to stand in the same spot. You can work on this in your house or in your yard. Every time you want to try to get her to break her sit when you're not as far away as I was, for starters. So for you guys, start in your yard, be a little energetic, maybe move a little quicker when you go away from her. Second she pops up, immediately turn around and just walk into her to get her to sit again, and then walk away. But the more energy that you have, the more the kids are running around, the easier or the quicker she'll listen to you guys under distractions.
Come on, Grandma.
But the harder it's going to be to get her to sit and wait.
Eating a piece of chicken she dropped. Come on.
All right. Now, what should the word no actually mean? Basically, it should just mean stop whatever you're doing. So, Karma understands no to mean
all right, Karma.
a range of different things.
Karma.
No can be used during your walks for leash pulling. If you get to the point where you let her off leash and run in the road, like in front of you, then you can use the word no. If say she's going off to the left and starts to go up on somebody's property, just tell her no. The second she gets to the threshold of where the curb is, she'll understand that. If she bites something, like grabs something she's not supposed to, start chewing it, just no. You can also use leave it for that. But basically just no means stop doing whatever you're doing, and that's about it. Now there will be times when Karma is just acting like she can't hear you. In some instances it might be she's just ignoring you, but also keep in mind, because it's very possible that she just simply does not hear you. Anytime a dog is focused in on something, they are really not paying attention to anything else. So if their head is in the ground and they're sniffing something, they're probably not going to hear you the first time. It's very similar to, say you have a little boy sitting there playing Xbox or something. Mom comes in the room, starts talking to him. That little boy's not going to have a clue that his mother's even in the house, let alone standing there talking to him, without the mother first grabbing his attention. So Karma's going to be basically the same way. Say your name, tap her on the e-collar, just so she has something to feel. So always just keep that in mind when you're either doing a recall or just calling her to get her moving because she's sniffing in the spot. Now what we're doing here is sit and down. Each time that she's doing that, I'm saying yes, and then giving her the piece of food. So when she does like to go down rather than just sit, when she does do that, you can just take your foot, like I showed you, and kind of just move it into her and push her up a little bit. What you see me doing right there, pulling her forward, marking and rewarding. That is what is called luring. So the act of luring is pretty much just having the dog follow your hand while you move her around. And that is very, very useful, especially when trying to get her to do new behaviors, get on new objects, or just really pretty much anything new. So right here, she goes back.
No, Karma.
I just tell her no, I don't use an e-collar at all.
Good.
She understood that she can't go further forward. Just a couple things to keep in mind since you are possibly going to be considering SAR training in the future, search and rescue. You're going to need her to be comfortable pulling, being comfortable around people, and comfortable in stressful situations, along with some other stuff. But the main point I want to make is if you put her on a harness, you need to allow her to pull. You should here and there allow her to pull a little bit unless you tell her to heel. And the reason for this is because you don't want to start getting into the SAR training and have her having an issue pulling on the leash. Because really we need her to drag us. And you can separate the two totally if you want to. You can make it so when you put a collar on her, like a regular leash and collar, she'll walk like a normal dog should, and then you can put it so you have a harness on her and she's not afraid to pull. She doesn't need to pull the entire time she's on the harness, but she should at least be allowed to do it here and there without really getting corrected. And here you can see we're doing a little bit of the off-leash heel. And she started to do this by herself. I didn't tell her to. That's pretty much perfect. Can't really ask for more than that.
Good girl. That's our girl.
At this point, anyway.
Heel.
So that was just a very... I think I'm on like a number 3 or 4 here.
Okay.
Okay is going to be her release word.
Sure, yeah, I think I'll stay here.
She doesn't always listen to it.
Alright.
And it's not really a command. It's just letting her know that you can break whatever command I just gave you and go off and do your own thing. Now here I'm just putting her up in the van, getting her some water.
Come.
So how do we get her to walk on a leash properly? So for starters, you don't ever want to ask the dog if they want to go for a walk or ask them if they want to go outside or any of that stuff for starters, because what that's going to do is that's going to bring the dog's energy up, and that's really the last thing you want to do. So ideally you want to bring her to the door or wherever you're going to put the leash on, put her into a sit, calmly reach down, put the leash on. When you go outside, just have her wait while you open the door. It doesn't matter if she's sitting, laying down, or standing. So you just want to open the door, make sure she's waiting, and tell her okay, and then she can go out. And you guys can go for your walk, but ideally have her go potty and stuff first in the yard, and then put her into a heel, go for your walk, and then periodically throughout your walk you can stop on your terms and allow her to go to the bathroom. While you're walking, you don't want to keep steady tension because that will cause her to pull. So just quick jerks and release all tension. Anytime that she's pulling or anything like that, also you can just tap on the e-collar.